Brenda Watson is the executive director of Operation Fuel. It's a nonprofit headquartered in Hartford, Connecticut, that provides equitable support for Connecticut residents who are experiencing difficulty in covering household energy costs. I hope that many of you help fund Operation Fuel's subsidies by using the opt-in $1 per month contribution to the organization. That opt-in checkbox appears on your utility bills. Brenda earned her master's degree in public policy studies at Trinity College, and she also has attended the Women's Campaign School at Yale, among other experience building endeavors. She is active in other aspects of key decision-making at the state level, especially when it comes to advancing social services and energy management. She is a board member of the Connecticut Green Bank. She serves as a volunteer on both the Governor's Council on Climate Change and the residential subcommittee of the Connecticut Energy Efficiency Board. You'll hear us talk about the EEB. Well, Brenda is making all kinds of great things happening at the EEB. And she's already today been providing testimony to Connecticut's Public Utilities Regulatory Authority on some important matters, but luckily she is here with us. So Brenda, let's hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patrice. I want to thank Bernie Pelletier and Mark Scully for organizing this today, along with Lorenzo. And I also want to thank Amy for being willing to step in for me if I, got held up. Luckily, the meeting ended and I'm here. So thank you so much. So I also wanted to note, full disclosure, that I'm actually presenting on behalf of Bonnie Roswig, an attorney for the Children's, for the Center for Children's Advocacy, who has for many years been advocating on behalf of low-income consumers on the energy front in relation to what renters' rights are and weatherization. So she couldn't be here, so I'm presenting on her behalf. I'll note that the majority of the information that I got today came from Bonnie and Wendy Wanchek, who is also an attorney with the Connecticut Legal Services. And I'm also able to provide some anecdotal information on the customer experience, but it's not something that we've studied in terms of barriers. So that's, the idea is ringing in my head that, that's something we should do moving forward. But I'll jump right in. If you can, yep, there we go. So what is WAP and HESIE? So I won't go into the HESIE piece too much because it sounds like the earlier part of the presentation, there's enough explanation of that program. But the WAP program, Weatherization Assistance Program, also known as WAP, is a Department of Energy program. It is funded via the LIHEAP block grant. It's bundled into there, meaning that 15% of the LIHEAP funds are allowed to be used for weatherization assistance measures that address health and safety. It goes beyond the HESIE portion of weatherization and kicks it up to the next level to address health and safety. In 2019, the state of Connecticut received $75 million via LIHEAP, which is, again, federally funded. It's LIHEAP stands for the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program. The 2020 funds are about 80 million plus an additional 14 million supplemental funds coming via the CARES Act. Yep, you can go to the next slide. So what are some of the barriers faced by low and moderate income renters? The WAP piece of the Energy Assistance Program are bundled together in one application. So when someone is seeking energy assistance via the state program, they're automatically enrolled into the WAP program. However, the HESIE portion of weatherization is a separate application, which creates a bit of a barrier for customers because the first thing is that they would need to be made aware of the program. I think Lorenzo alluded to that earlier, in that many customers are just not aware of the income eligible program that's available to them at no cost. So what the EDCs, aka utility companies, have to do, along with intake sites on the ground, programs like 211 and other energy related programs like Clean Water Action, PACE, and Operation Fuel, is we have to educate the consumer on what's available to them. As I noted, the customer is often not aware that the program exists, but they also need permission from the landlord. Well, they also seem to think that they need permission from the landlord for the IE portion of weatherization. For WAP, you need it because there's a deeper dive of services that are happening there. But for the IE portion, there is no landlord required signature for the application. However, what's happening is when the utility company sees that the landlord has not signed on, they will not refer that household for the IE portion of the program. So the work will never get done. We're hoping that there's a revision in the application process so that customers, low-income customers, are not afraid or intimidated by this process, and that they complete the IE portion, send it in, and get the work done without having that landlord permission on the application. I'll just note that, back in 2019, Pura noted, they made a final decision actually and it was a docket 19-07-02, in which they concluded that the requirements for hardship customers to take advantage of energy efficiency programs are particularly onerous, especially for tenants, while the SEEP application is treated as a determination of the household's income eligibility under the DOE program administered through DEEP. These services are on a first come, first served basis and based on available funds. And the company's Home Energy Solutions Program, IE portion, sustained by the ratepayers and open to all eligible income ratepayers, remains difficult to navigate. So I was happy to hear that the utility companies are looking to modify the application process. We see that as a barrier removing strategy. Next slide. So potential solutions. The EDCs, again, should consider bundling the IE portion of the application along with the DSS assistance and WAP application. Increase outreach efforts via a word of mouth incentive-based referral system. That might be happening. I'm not sure if it is. And an example of that would be, $20 for each neighbor-to-neighbor referral, similar to how the vendors provide an incentive to a local nonprofit for work that's done. Digital self-determination, a digital self-determination form on the utility company website would be great. And I think that Larry mentioned something like that, or Lorenzo. So like a simple questionnaire posted on not only the utility companies' websites, but a form that can be shared with other organizations like DSS or the community action agencies, 211 and other advocate websites, where folks can come across it, fill out a simple 2 to 3 questionnaire, and then get referred to a set of next steps on how to apply for the services. And I also wanted to just close with, the Energy Efficiency Board is actively working on ways to get resources to address these barriers. So more to come on this as we continue to investigate how we can support the customers, the vendors, and the utilities in this work. And yeah, that's it.
Hi, Brenda. There's I think a lot of people were really interested to hear the WAP piece of that. And there's a raging controversy in the in the chat box as to when a signature is required and when it is not. Is it like in one of the, like I think in Larry Rush is saying that for the utility run programs like HES IE or HES, it is required. You need a signature. But is it, are you able to parse that debate?
It is not required for as long as the IE portion. However, the utility companies will not advance on the project unless the landlord has signed. But there is a law in the books. I actually can cite it. You just give me a moment here. Yep, so the legislature has already weighed in on this issue. It passed CGS 47A-13A, which legally presumes consent of landlords. If the statutory steps are followed, the utilities continue to impose unnecessary constraints and burdens upon low-income tenants and are failing to follow the law.
So it sounds like some of the folks are ready to go out right now, and I think they're, if I'm going to put words in your mouth, and please spit them out if they're not right. It sounds like the law says one thing, and the practical implementation by the EDCs is that I think they're a little gun shy and they want a signature. That's sort of the.
Correct. So over the years, the anecdotal discussion has been, and I have never heard this directly from a utility company. I've heard it from advocates, and like I said, it's anecdotal, that utility companies will not move on a project unless the application is signed by the landlord because they fear liability. The companies so far have provided no evidence of actual negative experiences, inconveniences, or hardship with respect to implementing the notice requirements or other provisions of the statute. So we're hoping that there is a rewrite of the HES IE, the IE portion of the application to not scare tenants or intimidate tenants from pursuing the work to get done. And I know that a few months ago, Lorenzo and I had a side conversation about this in which I cited that the law does not require a landlord to sign the application for the IE portion. And I believe you mentioned an example of where you did the work and then the landlord, made a lot of noise and you ended up providing free painting services just to, keep him calm. So,
yes.
But I think if you had known the law, you would have been able to say to that landlord, excuse me, sir, but, per the law, you're not required to sign the application. I did the very simple weatherization work. I didn't do any infrastructure work to your home to cause you any alarm.
Yeah, you know what? It was funny. The customer tricked, the tenant tricked us and signed the landlord's name in that case. So we kind of got duped. But yeah, that guy was mad because he's like, how are you gonna come in my house and start doing stuff in my house? And it's my house. So, but I did not know the law at the time. I certainly would want to be well versed on it. I would still say until there's some clarification, we should probably hold off and, but I do hope that we can get some clarification and something that's simple for landlords to understand so that they understand, the tenants' rights as well as their own.
Yeah. So I think that's sound advice, Lorenzo. None of us well, maybe a few of us are lawyers, but most of us aren't. So I don't think we want to start practicing now, but roughly a third of people in Connecticut are renters. And that's right now, I'm going to guess, just based on the confusion that we've had, that it's an underserved market. And so if we policy wonks and advocates can push on this in a constructive way with all parties, we have to think of the landlord, we have to think of the utilities, and we have to think of the renters. I think it would be a great step forward to serve that 1/3. And Are there any, and there is a question, are there programs for apartment complexes? And
Programs for whether they,
energy, so if I'm in a 50-unit apartment building, they have windows, they have air conditioners, they have appliances. Does anybody know? Are we able to?
I am not familiar with any programs that address that particular.
So those last few slides I had on mine were about the multifamily initiative and the incentives that we have for that. So that's for 5+ units. We have a full multifamily initiative and incentives to help with the efficiency upgrades, as well as all the core services, which Lorenzo detailed, which is the air sealing, light bulbs, and water measures are covered at 100%.
So a 50-unit apartment building is multifamily. That's 5 and up, I guess. And so there is a program. That's very good.
A multifamily initiative.
Very good. And one question that just popped up: is there a way for vendors to sort of market to landlords? That's a more a marketing question.
I don't know if that's for me, but I actually, that's a question that I've been asking for a few months, and that is there a way to pull in the landlord associations or representatives to further educate them on the benefits of weatherization, and kind of dispel the myths around what it would mean for a vendor to come into their home or to their property and do the work. I think the biggest fear is being cited for code violations. Again, that's anecdotal information that we've heard over the years, and that landlords are afraid that they will have to pay huge fines for, unfortunately, not being the best landlords.
That's great. I think we are closing in on the hour, and we did want to give Terry Eichel from IREJN a few minutes of fame. So I'll turn it back to Patrice, and if time permitting, we can continue this Q&A.
Well, thanks, Bernie. And I just want everybody to know that Terry Eichel has been, such a wonderful advocate for all of these issues, from the steps of the Capitol building and everywhere else. Terry, you've just been so supportive and so instrumental in letting people know, congregations and environmental committees within churches and synagogues and so on, know, we have a moral imperative to help protect our earth and to help people who need help. So maybe you could just say a few words to the group, and then we'll continue the Q&A after one other business matter. Terry, are you?
Sure. Yep. I don't want to take up too much time because I know there are still questions out there, but I just wanted to say we do work with religious communities, and this is a great, especially this. I was so interested to hear about working with landlords and income eligible, because a lot of the folks that the religious community is already serving would be very much helped by being able to participate in these programs, saving money on their electric bills, being more comfortable in their homes, and then of course obviously the environmental benefits that we all know about. So if someone is interested in reaching out to their religious communities in their area, or if they're part of one and they think that this would be a good project for their, say, social justice team or their environmental ministry team, feel free to reach out to me. I think this is a project that would be great for individual faith communities to take on in their area, and it's a good COVID era project too, to keep people engaged. I know some ministries are very much changing right now, so this is actually something that folks could do. So anyway, but thank you so much for hosting this and letting us be a part of it. I think this is really great information. I'm super excited about all these rebates and opportunity for energy equity, which is a justice issue as well, almost first and foremost. So thanks, guys.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you so much. I did want to ask, the people who are with us, but I'm not seeing the ability to do a gallery view. Wait, there I can, I think. I wonder if those who have not spoken, who have been on mute all this time, we could do a show of hands. I'm wondering how many of you before today did not really know what a HES visit is. We kind of want to take the temperature of how well these public awareness programs are working or not. So can you all raise your hand if you didn't know? Okay, so I'm seeing a few, but most of you seem to, well, I'm seeing a lot of black rectangles, so I don't know about you. But we do want to really give Lorenzo and his fellow HES contracting people, companies, a lot of work to do in the next few months. Letitia and Stephanie and some of the other contracting companies that we've mentioned, we want to give them a lot of work. So let's all promote this important Energize CT program, and let it be known, that, okay, some people will say, well, I put it through and portal. You won't be you'll be eligible for all of those generous rebates, and it's really important to kind of go with this program and use the advanced know-how of experienced authorized energy efficiency technicians. I think we can all agree, at least in my experience, it's usually more expensive to do nothing. If you're a homeowner, or if you're responsible for a household, it's usually more expensive to do nothing about your home's energy performance than it is to get the work done, because you will not be wasting energy and not paying for energy that's going to waste. So let's all tell our neighbors, our religious congregations, our family members, and our friends to take advantage of HES 2020, what we've come to call it. There are hundreds, at the top of the chat, you'll see a link to a page in Energize CT. There are hundreds of contractors that have been authorized by UI and Eversource to do this work. But the ones that I know the best are the ones who have been going to Energy Efficiency Board meetings and to DEEP meetings and to PURA meetings, and explaining to the state officials what's needed to make the programs more accessible and more affordable, more user-friendly. And those people include Leticia Colon de Mejias. She's awesome. She's got some great videos, and she put one in the chat that shows how the technicians put on their garb before they enter a home. Leticia also has done some great videos on educational material on HES and home energy efficiency for children. She has her Green Eco Warriors program, which really is addressing school children. All of these people, John Greeno of New England Conservation Services, Lorenzo, Joe Roy, whom I haven't met, but I've heard great things about, CMC Energy Services. These people are so dedicated and focused on helping municipalities and energy task forces and community organizations of all kinds spread the word and allow people to access these great programs. You can always get information at 877-WISE-USE, of course, but like I said, choosing a HES vendor to work with, whether you're an individual or a municipality, it's both easy and hard. There are a lot of them out there, but we know from experience that the best ones partner with the organizations and help with marketing and public awareness. I think, there are ways where you can do virtual library programs now that educate people about this, and we hope to maybe allow the videos of this presentation to be part of maybe virtual library programs that can be used by energy committees and others. So we can keep all these contractors very busy for the rest of the year. Does anybody have, well, I think we all know what we need to do, right? We need to spread the word in our towns, get a home energy assessment if we haven't had one yet. Or if we've had one more than 36 months ago, like me, you know, there's an opportunity now to do it again and access all those incentives and rebates.